Hello and welcome back to one more extremely interesting episode of CXO Story by 𝗥𝗄𝗅. 𝗥𝗄𝗅 is India's leading AI marketplace for networking for CXO professionals. And for all of you who think that Bangalore city is only for biotechnology or information technology, we have a very surprise guest today. Raise your toast and for some high spirits interview today with Ashok Chokalingam, who is the COO and Master Distiller at Amrut Distilleries. Welcome, sir. Welcome to our episode.
Thank you, Vinay. Thanks for having me here.
It's entirely our pleasure, and it's going to be a hip hip hooray or maybe hick hooray episode for us. We would like to know more about what distillery is all about, what exactly you do in this, and your journey so far. So let me start off with now that you are in the very senior capacity from more than 2 decades at Amrit Distilleries, from a strategy and leadership point of view, how do you balance long-term vision with short-term pressure in your industry?
Okay, so the short-term pressures are bound to happen. This is something you cannot stop it because it is basically because of mostly macroeconomic situation. Now, if you look at today's situation, the war in the Middle East, the surge in the fuel prices, the stock market crash, this is a macroeconomic situation where you and I, for example, cannot control it. So, the long-term vision, on the other hand, for me is based on a milestone. So you just basically keep taking the milestone as long as you stay focused and on course. I think you should be able to withstand the short-term pressure. And that's how I see it. Because your long-term vision and the milestones that what you have picked should be good enough to withstand the short-term pressure. Because I think, for example, the current situation where once the war ends when the oil supply resumes back to normal, then the inflation along the supply chain will come down. The bottom line will be better again. So this is as you rightly said, short-term pressure, and we got to deal with it.
And so, how does good leadership look like in today's environment? Because I'm sure you're dealing with a lot of millennials, lot of Gen Zs, and in all possible age groups now. So, what does good leadership for you stand?
I think you have already given a partial answer. Dealing with the current generation, you need to have a different skill set as opposed to what it was in the past, where the leadership can be like a very rigid and commanding. And today's world, it may not be appropriate model to work with. So I would say my leadership style to deal with the current generation in particular is friendly yet firm. That's the only two answers.
Friendly yet firm. That's an interesting thought process, sir. From a growth and innovation perspective, where do you see the biggest untapped opportunity in your market, in your domain?
Right. In my domain, the biggest untapped opportunities are what we call as the indigenous spirits. For example, like say Mexico is very popular for tequila, United States for bourbon, Scotland for Scotch single malt whiskey and Scotch blended whiskey. So you have the geographical tag associated with that particular product category. And in India, for example, I'll just give you one example only because there are others which is kind of business secret which I can't reveal. For example, Mahua Spirit. Mahua Spirit was distilled as back as 2nd century BCE. Now, we need to basically nurture that particular product category and take it global. When tequila can be marketed and sold in India, why can't Mahua can be marketed and sold in United States or Mexico, vice versa, right? So like that, there are plenty of untapped opportunities exist.
Mahua versus tequila is going to be a good tie for all of us to decide what to drink. Can you
Yeah.
share a failed initiative, what it taught you, sir, in your long career journey?
Okay. Failed initiative? Yes, quite a few. I'll just basically give you one example. In our portfolio, we have one fantastic product by any standard. The mistake that we have done was aligning the supply chain and the launching the product on time when it was needed, which we basically failed to execute. Then that product did not take off at all in spite of the fact the product and price positioning, everything was perfect. Alignment along with the supply chain and route to the market on time was failed miserably. So it was a good lesson learned. And then now we are basically more proactive in terms of getting a new products into the market, when we are going to launch, where we are going to launch, what are the supply chains look like. So we really work well in advance, not to repeat the same mistake what we have done.
Very well put, sir. From a decision-making point of view, that now that Link CXO caters to the CXO level of audience, and I'm sure decision-making is something which is a very well thought, backed with data and sometimes with a gut feeling or intuition. How do you handle such situation where data conflicts with your intuition or anything which is backed with data? How do you decide on that?
Mostly, I work with both the aspects of data backed with the fact and the intuition. And many a times I've seen my intuition really worked well. So it's a question of the level of risk that you are going to perhaps take with the just intuition model alone, ignoring the data. And then in case of failure, would you be able to withstand that and able to move forward? That is what I will look into. So in the past, whatever the intuitive decision that I have made, I have ensured that in terms of a failure, it does not affect my P&L or financial health of the organization.
Perfect. That sounds wonderful in terms of a conflict between data and intuition. It's like Mahua and tequila. What exactly you have to take a call on?
Yeah.
What's the hardest no that you have said recently to any idea, to any project or anything? How have you handled those situations? Anything that I can get with an example?
Hardest to know in the recent past was further expansion of our manufacturing capability. Although, for example, today, to give you a perspective, the demand for Amrut products outstripped the supply by 4 times. Okay, so the general wisdom says that you must go for an expansion plan because you have a lot of demand. But on the other hand, you also need to take in account of the developing situation, in particular in our industry, the free trade agreements that are going to come in play between, for example, United Kingdom and India, European Union and India, and then the ongoing talk between United States and in India. So the bourbons can be cheaper. Irish single malt whiskies and Irish blended whiskies can be cheaper. Scotch whiskies can be cheaper. So how are we basically going to counter that? How my supply demand equation will change because of the implementation of the FTAs that are in line to be implemented. So that was a very hard no, but we got to take the decision.
And how do you ensure diverse perspectives or ideas are considered? I'm sure there'll be a conflict between the management as well as the entire team or the product marketing team who come out with innovations. So how do you consider everybody's view and strike the right balance?
Okay, so in this case, first you got to be a good listener. Listen to the perspectives and then do your analysis. And if you are going to say yes to a perspective, why you say yes? And if you are going to say no to a perspective, why you are saying no? And here it is not, although you are in a leadership role, it is not that a kind of dictatorship role that I say yes or no. When you get a collective perspective, you also get an answer for and against an idea that can be implemented. So you basically take the overall skeleton of the situation and then see what the pros and cons. And then I am always willing to give a go, provided the failure from that decision is not going to affect the financial health of the organization, and I'm able to withstand little less profit than what I could have had. That's it.
Very well put your thought on this topic, sir. From a culture and people perspective, how do you build and maintain cultures as the company scales? How do you maintain that balance?
Okay, it is a very difficult question to answer, considering the current set of generation who are coming on board into the different sets of organizations around the world. the Gen Zs are most difficult age group to tackle with because they are basically exposed with everything kind of spoon-fed. They did not see the hardship in their life, perhaps like what you and I would have gone through. So when they come onto the fold, the cultural health of the organization is going to go for a change. So here, now the question is basically the adaptability. The organizational culture cannot drastically be changed to accommodate the needs of a few individuals. Whereas the individual has to basically change a little bit to adapt to the organizational culture. Having said that, organizational culture always evolves and then change gradually over a period of time rather than going from south to north overnight. Yeah. So this is what my answer would be.
And any one hiring mistake that you have made that you'll never make again?
Yes, when you are buckling under pressure, where somebody has left, servicing the notice period, and you are not able to basically fill that position with the exact skill set that what you wanted to have. Sometimes you basically kind of make a compromise and then hire and go ahead and then find it extremely disaster, which we have encountered at least twice, if not thrice. And now we basically decided to basically bite the bullet and then screen it properly, take our time and recruit the right person.
And this is a tricky one. What's something employees wish leaders understood better?
I think if you ask me personally speaking, the inflation. Mm-hmm. So we all have a pressure on bottom line. Yes. And then everybody wanted to chase the top line. But what we are not perhaps understanding is inflation is the same for you, me, the guy down the line and above. So when you look at the salary revision in terms of giving annual increment and whatnot, this has to be clearly thought over because the lifestyle changes, aspiration changes. Yes, it is important to look at your bottom line, but also to ensure that the balance is maintained where you understand the core requirement of the employees. On the other hand, you also ensure that your P&L is intact.
Since we are talking about P&L and bottom line, my next segment is about business and execution. What metric matters most to you right now and why?
The metric is for me the bottom line because all of us are under undue stress on bottom line on two counts. One is the input inflation is going up. On the other hand, you are not able to pass on the inflation to the consumers straight away because the competition is so severe, which is basically eroding the profitability. So for you to basically stay alive and healthy, the bottom lines are important to withstand the future short-term pressures, like, for example, what we are currently going through. Yes. So for me, the bottom line is absolutely important than the top.
And how do you prioritize when everything feels urgent?
I go for a priority pyramid where basically list everything and then you will be able to see which carries the utmost priority than the other. So I'll go for the priority pyramid.
How do you stay aligned across different departments? As a COO, you'd have to manage the operations completely. And it would be quite a bit of tug of war, or how do you manage this?
It is not easy. So what we started to do more and more is a cross-functional meeting. Mm-hmm. So that is very important because at times I bring the marketing guys to the distillery to see what we go through for them to understand later on why they cannot give me a last-minute purchase order to get it executed and deliver it the next week. Yeah. You need to understand the operation constraint. And then we also take the production guys to the market. And then, look, these are all the products that we are working up against in terms of competition. This is the retail price of X, Y, Z, and this is where we are. Mm-hmm. So why it is important to be more economical and efficient to improvise our bottom line by bringing operational efficiency. So cross-cultural meetings and cross-cultural exposure are very much required in today's world.
Totally agree with you. Cross-functional exposure, marketing, sales, product, on the job. I think everybody should be aware about the kind of challenges for us to know how, as a team, we can continue together. On that thought, I would like to ask you more from an industry and future outlook. What major shift will redefine your industry in the next 5 years?
Innovation and addressing the changing demographics in terms of the population, which you segment by age.
Yeah.
In particular, Gen Zs. Their market share is going to be very big in the next 5-6 years. So you need to address the requirements of Gen Zs in addition to catering to the existing consumer group. That is what you should be looking for.
And, how is Amrut Distillery preparing for any kind of uncertainties which come? Do you have a plan B?
There are a lot of uncertainties around. For example, nobody has a very clear idea of what is going to be the repercussions of the free trade agreement coming from 3 different areas: European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and its impact on the domestic market. So this is uncertainty that we are anticipating, but we don't know what the effect of that is going to be. However, we are preparing ourselves for the worst so that nothing can be worse than that.
And as you know, AI is almost everywhere. And how will technology play in your industry? Will it have a role where AI automation, is it also penetrating in the distillery industry, in the business?
Okay, AI automation is certainly going to be playing its role in certain aspects of the production. For example, bottling line, robotics, cut down the workforce. But at the moment, we are against that principle as a company. I would say we have a little bit of humanity over profit.
Yeah.
We wanted to employ as many people as possible. It is not that we just wanted to have automation and then remove people. On the other hand, AI can be extremely, extremely useful on the marketing side of our business, which we are using very extensively these days. From brand strategy to marketing teams to design, and everywhere AI is really playing its role.
And what keeps you optimistic about the future?
The future is absolutely with a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges. So both. It's not going to be like a one-way traffic. So we are basically going to treat them with an equal hand and embrace it. So I think that is a wise thing to do, because there is going to be a lot of challenge in terms of competitive pressure, a lot of products going to come from the overseas market and going to compete with you on the pricing. So there'll be a pressure on the bottom line. So we are prepared for that.
I come now for the personal insight segment. What's a habit that significantly improved your performance on the job?
I'm a good listener. So I firmly believe that there is an answer for every question right in front of you. And it's a question of your ability to see through from a particular angle. That is what it is.
And how do you manage stress and avoid burnout? That's something which we all would love to know.
Yeah, I have a big tool in front of me, golfing. I just basically go out. If you go and play a round of golf, you see a lot of greeneries and you challenge yourself, but yet with the physical activity, with the buddies, that's the biggest boon that I have in terms of taking a relief my stress and burnout.
Oh, wow. You're an avid golfer then. Wonderful.
Yeah. Any opportunity comes in, I jump in and go.
Good. A lot of strategies quite often work out on a golf course. So good to know that, sir.
Yeah.
And who has influenced your leadership style the most?
I would say Dr. 𝗖𝗍𝗪𝗓𝗢.
Oh, no prizes for guessing Vijay Mallya for sure. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. He is a very bold decision maker. I particularly like that character from him. Otherwise, he could not have reached that height what that company has reached. So the reason for the other issues are different.
Yes.
I'm only talking from that, for example, our industry's perspective.
Yes.
What he has done for this industry in this country is something phenomenal.
And what advice would you give your younger self if you go back about 2 decades in time?
You must do what you love and don't do what you don't love. For example, you are in a job, you really don't like what you're doing, don't do it, get out. On the other hand, you really love something and try to basically impress it and then how to make a business out of it, then what's going to happen is you will be extremely efficient and the chances for you to become more successful is at the highest point than anything else.
And I come to the last segment, which is more of a fun and engaging rapid fire. One word to describe your leadership style.
Love and hate.
Oh, striking the right balance between love and hate. Wow.
Yeah.
And book that changed your perspective.
Sorry, say again.
Any book that changed your perspective?
Oh, The Leader in You by Dale Carnegie.
Oh, perfect. That's a great book to read. And biggest myth about being a CXO?
Just enjoy their life. They are the top of the pyramid, but it's not. There are a lot of pain inside. In addition to the perks and whatnot, the status that you enjoy, and there is a lot behind.
And your morning routine, is it very strict or is it very flexible?
It is a combination of both. Monday to Friday is very rudimentary, very regimentary, and then weekends more relaxed.
And any one movie that you really enjoy watching again and again?
The Godfather.
Wow, The Godfather. Great.
And one more. The Glengarry Glen Ross.
Wonderful. Very good choice of movies there. One skill every future leader must learn.
Uh, okay, it's basically embracing the challenge and opportunity and stay afloat in the changing circumstances.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a very engaging session. So really makes me to raise a toast for you and Amrut Distilleries. Best wishes for your career ahead and to every initiative that you're doing, including golf. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Vinay. Thanks for having me. When I discovered CXO Link, I did not realize that there was a separate platform created for CXOs because, since I was not in that zone, I perhaps did not realize it. The moment you tagged me in the LinkedIn, when I just saw that, then I realized how great it is because we have a great networking opportunity. For example, somebody who is in the supply chain related to our business is there. Somebody in the corporate hospitality is there whom I can basically have a chat with. So I think it is going to be very helpful for all the CXOs from the networking to nurture their own business as well as to help the others. So I think is phenomenal. I'm grateful to you to have me here, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be very beneficial for the whole community as a whole.
Thank you so much, Ashok, for those kind words.